This podcast is part of the Bible-thumping Wingnut Network, Biblical Christianity's marketplace of ideas. BibleThumpingWingnut.com.
All right. Welcome to another segment of the Bible Thumping Wingnut podcast. Podcast show. Who knows what this is? We're in transition. We're doing all kinds of different stuff here on the YouTube channel. Hope you appreciate it. What I'm doing today, is a follow-up. The title of this video originating on YouTube is, I think I was wrong about Jeff Durbin. Could I have been wrong? Yes, I could have been wrong about Jeff Durbin. Referring back to episode 357, which I did about, 10 days ago. There's a 358 here on YouTube. I've yet to post on the podcast feed. Maybe I'll do that for next Monday. But I did a podcast where I critiqued Jeff Durbin's appearance on a Tinfoil Hat podcast, a secular podcast with Jeff Durbin was on there promoting his cultish podcast, and he failed to share the gospel. And I tried to be gracious. I played large chunks of the episode and made comment. I was gracious. I think I was. Nobody said I wasn't gracious, but I got different feedback. I got different feedback from what I thought I would get. And this is going to be a short video, a short commentary, and comments on your feedback, because many of you think that I was wrong about Jeff Durbin. And what do I mean by that? Let me read your comments. A Tinfoil Gospel was the name of the video right here on this YouTube channel. I encourage you to go and watch it. It's streamed live here on July 21st. And here are some comments. The Good Morning guy says, I was about to jump on the defense Durbin train. He does much in proclaiming the gospel to the secular world, but it does sound like you're correct in that he lost an opportunity. You're right that we need to be keep pointing people to Jesus. Another comment by Mark Lar, 2012. Love Durbin and his crowd. They've done more than me, but they are more law-centered than gospel-centered, and also they act like teenagers sometimes. If anybody from Apologia would ever listen to this, these aren't comments coming from me, and these aren't like diehard Bible thumping wingnut viewers on YouTube. Okay, these are just people who stop by, and all the names but one are people I haven't never noticed a comment from. So this could be an opportunity for them to really do some reevaluating. Comment by Carol Burby. Jeff Durbin is a legalist, theonomist, postmillennial first and foremost. His gospel is law-keeping. Even when he presents the gospel, it's in the context of legalism. This isn't a personal attack on Durbin. It's an attack on post-mill and theonomy. As long as someone is entrenched in the postmillennial theonomy worldview, the gospel will be obscure. Teresa Glide, I don't know how to say your last name, Teresa, says, you're right on, brother. You're right to be concerned. Another comment. Now, here's the thing. At the end of this short video, I'm going to give a challenge to all of you who love Jeff Durbin and happen to be disagreeing with these comments right now. Okay? I'm going to give you a challenge at the end because, well, just hold on, okay? Hold on. I'll give you an opportunity to respond. Rulian commented and said, "Is it possible Jeff thought it's not the correct time to talk about salvation? If it's possible, you should not be scrutinizing him like this. It's unfair, and you sound like a desperate Arminian looking for an altar call at the end of a sermon." Well, that's not somebody who knows and watches much of my videos. But okay, there's a comment critiquing me. Here's another one. Geneva General says, "I'm not certain if the issue here is Durbin's postmillennialism. It might be part of it, but I think there's a larger issue. Namely, I've noticed in some circles of conservatism, Christianity, that there seems to be a mentality of, we're in a culture war, so let's make allies with those who have the same enemies as us. That would explain why Durbin, talking to non-believing hosts with whom he shares many beliefs in regards to justice and the other issues, would shrug off differences with, haha, you should be a Puritan, and hey, well, here's something cool about my Christian worldview that agrees with you, as if they're talking about minor political points." And that would go also with him getting together with other people like that gay affirming guy. Oh, from the Daily Wire. I'm sure I actually shouldn't say that because that's somebody else who had him on. That's Doug Wilson who had him on, and the Cross Politic guys. But maybe Durbin's had him on too. But Durbin had Ben Shapiro on, finding a lot of common ground. Okay, and I got this email, and here's a reoccurring theme. You'll notice a reoccurring theme here. This email is from Carmen. I'm sending this email to thank you for what you're doing with Bible Thumping Wingnut with your review with Jeff Durbin on the Tinfoil Hat podcast. Yes, we all miss opportunities to share the gospel, and Jeff had health issues a few days before, but I've listened to a few of Jeff's podcast appearances, and it's the same MO. I could probably say his basic spiel in my sleep. Tell the host how much you love what he or she is doing. If that is your automatic opening line, it becomes meaningless. It makes me cringe. He gushes over the secular lost host of Tinfoil Hat, facepalm. With Ali Stuckey, same approach. Then brings up worldview and thinking you are a meaningless bunch of atoms. That's the presuppositional argument. It becomes all about me. We don't want a theocracy here where God's laws are his standard. Tim, I've had it up to here with Jeff's theonomy, the growing Hebrew roots movement, which Jews for Jesus calls. Okay, theonomy strikes me the same way as Hebrew roots movement. So, a reoccurring theme from multiple feedback listeners. So here's my challenge, and I'll wrap up this short video here, okay? Because I know that many of you who are watching this probably are very fond of Jeff Durbin, as I am very fond of him in many areas as well. But others, not so much. Others, we disagree very firmly. So at the end of the last podcast, episode 357, to be gracious, all right, I wanted to, at the end of that podcast, after pointing out failure after failure, there was 4 or 5 complete, utter, facepalm, huge failures in sharing the gospel, where a lost person basically says, tell me how to be saved. They didn't do that, but they go back and listen to episode 357 right here on the YouTube channel. You can see it if you haven't heard it already. So, to be gracious, after exposing his failure on that particular podcast. See, because I know that Jeff Durbin knows the gospel, and I know that he can preach it clearly. So I went looking for a short clip of him presenting the gospel clearly, so that I could put it at the end of the podcast. Like, hey, Jeff, this is what you should have done. This is what you should have done right here. I couldn't find one. So, shout out to all the Apologia folks. Okay? If you have a short clip, I'm talking 5-6 minutes, where Jeff Durbin preaches the gospel, clear, concise, to the point, that is, man is lost on their way to hell. They're under God's wrath. They deserve nothing but God's wrath. Their righteousness, their good works are worth nothing. And here's the work of Christ through his death, burial, and resurrection, what he accomplished on the cross through his by his atoning sacrifice. God's wrath was poured out on him on the cross. The Father's wrath was poured out on Christ that was due you as a sinner, was poured out on Christ. That is, if you repent and believe, you repent of your sin, you turn to Christ and you trust him and his work, his death, through his life, death, burial, and resurrection, you will be saved. Repent, believe, turn from your sin. Here's what Christ did. Here's what you need to do to not be under God's wrath, but be born again. Okay? I just did it in 3 minutes. Does anybody, can somebody help me out? Help me out. Send me a clip. Many of you may go to Apologia Studios trailer video in which Jeff preaches the gospel of the kingdom. I don't believe that qualifies, because that is a vague description of the gospel and a very specific preaching of postmillennialism. That's what his trailer is. So if you know of a time when Jeff Durbin preached the gospel clear and concisely within 4, 5, 6 minutes, send it to me. Put it in a comment here on this video or on the podcast, or send it to me at 320 BTWN guy. You can send me links there. I believe you can send me links on that. You can email it to me at BibleThumpingWingnut@gmail.com. Okay? So, I think I was wrong about Jeff Durbin. And if you disagree with me, I want to encourage you to send me a link to where Jeff has preached the gospel clear and concisely. And if he does, I'll share it with everybody. Till next time, take care. Go to BibleThumpingWingnut.com for everything Bible Thumping Wingnut, and more to come. Lots of content, events. Stay tuned right here at the Bible Thumping Wingnut YouTube channel. See ya.